I dealt with a lot of stuff, including a boss who sexually assaulted me. I'm stronger. Nobody messes with me anymore.
Who is Julie Bass Kaplan?
I am an empath. I lead with my heart. I have this capacity to love, and I'll never, ever, ever want to change that. So the magic for me is not in the cannula or the needle or the laser. The magic is in that connection I'm feeling with my patient and the conversations we have and them seeing in themselves what I see in them. Children in your lives where they just think they're ugly and you just wish that they could see themselves in your eyes because you see that beauty in that child. I see that in my patients, and I want them to say, when you and I talked a lot at Inner Circle, you helped me figure out that my purpose in life is to, and I don't think everybody could do that. The reason I love being a nurse is because of my heart. I care too much. Sometimes it does lead to some trouble because I can't help everybody and I want to help everybody. I am addicted to people. I realize if I'm going to have an addiction, it's not going to be alcohol or drugs. It's going to be people.
You went on stage in front of a lot of people at Inner Circle and talked about your sexual assault. I just want to ask you, in that moment, how were you feeling?
I felt...
Who is Julie Bass Kaplan?
I can't dance like a bird, but I can't dance much at all, honestly. I've widely known to have fallen off a stage and broken my foot trying to dance, but I was actually trying to twerk. But who am I? I am basically at the core, a shy person. I am an empath. I lead with my heart and reason later. I can't even kill a spider. I rescue spiders out of my house humanely. I look where I step so I don't accidentally step on a bug. I'm just a big heart. I try to be different, but I can't. It's just not, I can't. So I care too much, and sometimes it does lead to some trouble. Because I can't help everybody and I want to help everybody. But things affect me deeply. But I try to pull myself out of my, genetic shyness too. I was so shy growing up. My stepmother is a nurse and she really helped me get out of being shy and helped me get confidence. So I thank Susie Bass for being my original nurse leader. Because I was so shy. I didn't think I could really do anything. And she gave me confidence and said, Julie, you're smart. You can do this. If I can do it, you could definitely can do it and you will love it. And I think the reason I love being a nurse is because of my heart and because of my shyness and because I just want to help people and being that empath. Getting confidence early on, I guess I didn't really get full confidence till I turned 30. I don't think we're real adults until we turn 30, honestly. I think at our 20s, we're still developing our brain. We're still developing who we are. So who am I after 30? I'm stronger. I dealt with a lot of stuff, including a boss who sexually assaulted me. Nobody messes with me anymore. But I have this capacity to love, and I'll never, ever, ever want to change that. And even if it's drag to rescue a spider or not step on a bug, it's okay. I know that's who I am, and I just want to keep helping people, and I want to keep helping people feel confident, like my mom did for me. My birth mother was an alcoholic, so she made me feel the opposite of confident. She was Jekyll and Hyde when she was drunk, really nice lady when she was sober, but really insecure. She never got her confidence, and I think that led to the severe alcoholism. By the time I got home from school at 3:30, she was already mean and already drunk. So I never had friends come over, just one friend who knew what the deal was. But I didn't want to be that kind of mom. We were very poor. Her job, when she had a job, would be working at 7-Eleven at the counter, right? So we didn't have much at all. And my stepdad was a big rig mechanic. So growing up in Coos Bay, Oregon, a small little coastal Southern Oregon town, did not give me confidence, did not give me strength. It gave me a desire to work hard, not to live like this. It gave me a desire to never be the kind of mom that was drunk especially before the kids got home. And it took me moving to Redding to be with my wonderful dad, Randy Bass, and my wonderful stepmom, Susie Bass, until I finally started saying, you know what? I can be a nurse. I can be anything I want to be, and I could still be a nice person. I can still have humility and be kind to people, and find a career that serves me and my soul. And I did. And I know that's a long answer, Lonnie, but it's hard to ask who are you if you don't start from scratch and from that little girl that came out, a joyous little girl who lost her confidence and was really, really shy.
I think it's a beautiful answer, Julie. It's a really beautiful answer. And I'll follow it up with
It got me a little bit salty.
That's all right.
I went to bed thinking about some of the most amazing leaders that I've had the pleasure of just being with, and the influence that they've had in my life is profound.
What made them, in your mind, good leaders?
Wow. Okay. So looking back, the ones that really impacted me the most were in my time. I spent 10 years as a surgical technologist in the OR, and all of the leaders that impacted my life were those three women that I had the privilege to work with. I also, my 10 years in the OR, worked with a terrible leader who was a man, and you heard my story at Inner Circle with how that ended up. And so I've had, on this continuum of leadership, I've had the worst, somebody who literally sexually assaulted me, to the best, some three ladies that were OR leaders that absolutely inspired me to be strong and not take crap off of anybody. I was a 23-year-old little girl, very, very shy, starting my career in the OR. And these ladies taught me to be strong. And when I did get sexually assaulted from the owner and the leader of that hospital, I was able to mentally handle it, and I was able to navigate that and heal from it. But I think back, and I think if I didn't have Catherine Trumbull and Kathleen Gullidge and Lynn Hoyer in my life before all of that happened, I would have been absolute puddle, a puddle of mush, I think. But they taught me so much. And the main thing is their styles of leadership were radically different. But the heart of it all is they cared about their team, and they absolutely were there for every single team member. And I remember learning about, I got my master's degree in nursing leadership, and thinking that I would learn all these great things and be a great leader like Catherine and Kathleen and Lynn, that were OR leaders for me in the operating room. But really, that whole degree was all about being a hospital administrator, and I have no interest in being a hospital administrator. But I really spent $30,000 to get my master's degree in leadership, thinking I could be as amazing as them, when all it really takes truly to be a good leader is to have that passion and care about your team. Catherine, I remember very vividly. She's she's a leader of the entire team. So she's an OR leader with doctors, she's nurses, PAs, everybody, right? And to quicken the turnover times, she would get in there. She's this big leader, this big administrator. She'd get in there with a mop and be mopping blood off the floors. And that's just super cool when you're a servant leader and you literally serve your team. I'll never forget that bloody mop going back and forth, and her just going, come on, we got this, let's go, with a smile on her face. That's the kind of leader I want to be. And I think about Lynn Hoyer. I left that team and went to work for this man at this hospital. It ended very badly, as you know. It ended with a sexual assault in front of coworkers, people watching it happen right in front of me, and it was devastating. And I went back and called. I called Lynn Hoyer and I said, Lynn, this happened, and I told her about it, and she cried with me, and she says, Julie, we don't have an opening right now, but when you're ready to come back, I'm going to welcome you with open arms. And that changed my life, because I never had a time where I didn't have a job. She believed me. She knew me. She knew my heart. She knew I wasn't lying. Even though there wasn't an opening, I was welcome back, and I went back in 2 weeks. And because I needed some time to really heal, and I still get teary when I think about Lynn, saying, you got a job, don't worry, I'm happy to have you back. I want to be that way. I want to always care about my team. I just want them to be comfortable and feel safe enough that I never feel unsupported. And then lastly, Kathleen Golich, oh my gosh, she didn't take guff off of not the meanest surgeon out there, not the surgeon, the kind that spit fire. She just reflected their fire and how to shield. And she taught me that you can be strong and smart and capable and compassionate all at the same time. It's possible. Speaking of great leaders, Jory he leaves room for wild ideas. And that's another really good quality. I mean, Disappearing Act medical aesthetics was my wild idea, because I had these, I had a goatee, and I saw that this laser came out for hair removal, and Jory was already a pioneer with laser. He was already had a private company called Rating Mobile Laser Link, and he hired a guy to schlep lasers all the way from one OR to another. There's two competing ORs in town, and he would deliver the lasers, and he would do all of his thyroidectomies with laser and parotidectomies. So he removed his specialty was removing cancer, facial cancer, head and neck cancer. So he would always use a laser. So he had already a couple of lasers in a company that was a private company to deliver him. Because of that, he was like, sure, why not buy another laser? And that's how Disappearing Act started. I wanted to make hair disappear. And that's why my logo's a bunny out of a hat, making a hair disappear. Like a magic trick. But yeah, so hair disappear, and then we got a laser to remove tattoos. I was injecting collagen. I was injecting Botox before it was FDA approved, because he was this is a little secret that's not so much a secret. I'm thinking the statute of limitations is over. So I think it's safe to say that I learned how to inject Botox because he would teach me, and he, before it was FDA approved, because they were doing it in LA to make wrinkles disappear. So if there was any leftover Botox from a vocal cord, he would put it into vocal cords for people who had spasmodic dysphonia. And so he let me practice on people like recovery room nurses afterwards. So yeah, the recovery room lady's looking pretty hot, I thought, after a while. So I've been injecting Botox many years.
That is tremendous. There's so much to unwrap in all that you've said. I want to go back for a second and ask a question. What does Julie Bass Kaplan do?
I try to assist. I don't make people do anything. You can't. I try to assist people to see the beauty in themselves. I try to assist people to see the beauty in things. When you and I talked a lot at Inner Circle, you helped me figure out that my purpose in life is to use my artistic ability to make the world more beautiful, and to help people see the beauty that is there, to enhance the beauty of the world, to enhance the beauty of people. And I think by doing little tweaks, with our needles, we can do that. But that's not the real magic. So the magic for me is not in the cannula or the needle or the laser. The magic is in that connection I'm feeling with my patient, and the conversations we have, and them seeing in themselves what I see in them. Because gosh, if you ever, I don't know if you have, children in your lives where they just think they're ugly, and you just wish that they could see themselves in your eyes because you see that beauty in that child. I see that in my patients, and I want them to say, look in the mirror, walk by and pass, instead of 5 things that they hate about themselves in just a split second, sit there and see 5 things that they love about themselves. Just in that one little glance in the mirror. I am a great person. I love myself. And gosh, I look happy today. I look jubilant today. I look vivacious. I want them to see all the good things and not see the bad. So that's I think my big purpose in this world, in this life. I know you see how beautiful you are, Lonny, because we've had lots of conversations about that.
Well, look, what's interesting as I've gotten to know you over the time, is everything you just said, and then it seems to me that your mechanism is that I believe that you're quite creative, and I also believe you passionately love to teach, and you have taken that and you have become this creative teacher. You teach creatively, and I think it fills us who are able to benefit. I think it fills you as well. Does it?
It does. It does. I really love to teach in small groups because I can connect with the people. Because I am addicted to people. I realize if I'm going to have an addiction, it's not going to be alcohol or drugs. It's going to be people. People are my drug of choice. It's just true. So to be able, and from the time I was a little girl, I got some confidence because the art teacher would always say, "Oh, you're very talented. You better do something with art in your life." Mr. Schnorr said that to me. If you don't do something artistic in your life, I'm going to be very upset, because you have to have a career with art in it. And I did, Mr. Schnorr, I did it. But also people, right? So teaching is great. And another great thing about that first inner circle is Dr. Subio. Dr. Subio taught us how to use our creativity to teach. What the heck? Procreate looked like too hard for me to ever tackle, but he step by step taught us how to use Procreate, how to, I've procreated, that's for sure. I got 2 great boys, but I
Yes,
didn't
you
know how
have.
to
Yes,
use
you do.
Procreate.
Yeah. I did not know that you and Subio procreated. That is like
No,
crazy.
not together.
Oh, no, I know. I'm not going there. Yeah.
No.
And if
Not in this
if
life,
that
no.
scoundrel's listening, I have it out for you, Subio. When are you coming on? Just want to put that out there to him.
Interestingly, he has 2 beautiful boys as well.
I know.
I have 2 beautiful boys, but they are different boys.
Yeah, at different stages too. At different stages, yeah.
Yeah, I'm 10 years older than that chap.
Yeah.
Not old enough to be his mother, but I'm older. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, look,
And wiser. I'm wiser, Subio. I'm wiser.
I think everyone's wiser than him. If you want to know the truth. Listen, sorry, I don't mean to get on it, but
No, I love that guy. I love that guy. He's so funny.
Me too.
Creative too. But yeah, using your talents, whatever they are, to reach your dream, I think is absolutely 100% necessary. And not everybody can draw or paint or do that, but I think that it doesn't matter. I know wonderful injectors that can't pick up a paintbrush, and that's fine. They still do a really beautiful job. You.
Absolutely.
And I also have the gift of dyslexia, which I think is an incredible gift for an injector. I read slowly, but I can read. I just read slowly, and that's okay. I write slowly. I do everything slowly because I have to recheck spelling and everything. And I'm a perfectionist, so everything has to be spelled right, or it's going to drive me crazy. So things take me longer to do. That's why I don't post every single day. I take a long time to do everything I do, but I can think in 3D. One of the things about dyslexia is the ability to think in 3D. We have larger right brains, and I can walk around a room in my head. I can walk around a face. I can see in my mind's eye what that face is going to look like when I'm done. And if it doesn't look like it looks in my head, then I'm not done, right? So that's why I don't like to charge per syringe. I like to, give people a price range, and because I want it to look like it looks in my head before I'm done, and I could predict it, I could see it, and I don't think everybody could do that. I think 1 in 5 people can, because 1 in 5 people have that ability because of dyslexia. So if you have trouble reading out there, you guys, if you get tired reading, it's probably because you might have undiagnosed dyslexia. And if you do, just think of it as a gift, man. If you can walk around your kitchen in your head, you might have that gift. But anyway, I digress. But I'm just saying, use your gifts, whatever they are. Even disabilities, it could very well be a gift,
That's great, Julie. I got to tell you, for the listeners out there who are thinking about a career in aesthetics or what have you, I'm going to echo or add to what Julie said, just to encourage you. I have terrible spatial relationships in terms of, like, those tests where you had to see dotted lines and create, if you were going to fold that into a box. I can't do that stuff. When we get new things in the house, my wife throws away the instructions and puts it together in 10 minutes. It would take me 3 hours. So I didn't do a plastics rotation. I thought, this is ironic, but when I went through surgery, I thought I could never do that. And I trained myself. And so I'm very happy that I think I do halfway decent work aesthetically with fillers. And don't be discouraged out there by labeling yourself ever, ever, ever. If you want it and you want to work hard, you can create it. Yeah, I love that. Julie, I don't even know where to go with this. You're so full of great information. But you touched on I consider you one of the true leaders in aesthetics, and I know that you also run, or you started Disappearing Act, and you have a team. So, on the aspect of leadership, one of the things that I have learned is, or found, is that a vulnerability is not a sign of weakness. And you went on stage in front of a lot of people at Inner Circle and talked about your sexual assault, and you were just so very vulnerable in that moment. And I just want to ask you, in that moment, how were you feeling?
I felt, because it was a few days after we all got to know each other, I felt like I was in an environment where I was supported. I felt cared for and loved and safe. Otherwise, I don't think I could have done it. One of the hardest things is my son, my 21-year-old son, was in the audience. My baby, right? And he knew that it happened. He knew what happened. He just never heard the details of it. And because I felt so safe and so supported by that 50 people that were there, including my son, I felt like now's the time to talk about this. So maybe somebody else out there is dealing with the same thing, and they might find that strength to get out of that toxic situation, get out of that toxic environment. And then I thought, you know what, my son, I've raised him to be honest. I raised him to be strong. I raised him to be kind. And this is probably one of the most powerful things he'll ever hear. And maybe he'll support his daughter, his wife someday. And I know from my core he's never gonna be that kind of a man that would ever hurt a woman like I was hurt. So that's how I felt, Lonnie. I felt supported. You could have heard a pin drop in that room.
I remember.
And for the first time in, I don't, what was it, 20 years that I've spoken about it, I do have what's that contract where you're not supposed to talk about it? Non-disclosure, NDA. And I'm violating it. And you know what? I don't care, because he can sue me. I could afford it now. Fine, go sue me. You're going to re-expose yourself as the monster that you are if you do. Because, trust me, if I go to court, the world's going to know what a monster that person is. I don't care. But me at 30 years old, I just chose not to honor that NDA and be quiet about it. So that one speech is the first time I've ever publicly talked about it. And I was really grateful to have been so loved and supported in that room. It was very, very powerful.
Yeah, no, well, thank you for having the bravery to do that. I think I have daughters, I have a wife, I work mainly with women. I think that what you've done, what you did and what you continue to do is very, very important for women. It's important for men. I have sons as well. It's extremely important and extremely important to talk about. And I think, again, in your way, in yet another way, besides your faculty teaching, you brought all of us at Inner Circle that Felix brought together even closer. It's not the times when we stand and talk about how great our technique is. It's how tough some of our times are, and you were willing to share that. I really thank you for that.
It was beautiful. Afterward, several people came up to me and told me their stories, and it's not rare. Sadly, it's not rare. Sadly, it happens. You get a bad leader like that, they have power over you. I had a mortgage. I had believe it or not, I was married to somebody else at the time when it happened. And he wasn't strong. He wasn't able to really handle it. So it was a tough time. And I ended up getting out of 2 toxic situations after that happened. I got out of my work environment, which was toxic, and my marriage, which was also toxic. I just want to encourage anybody who's in a toxic relationship, a toxic environment, period, that not every marriage is like that. Not every workplace environment is like that. There will be others. There are excellent leaders out there who would welcome you. And just there are other great partners to be with later on, but you don't even need a partner. That's the thing. None of us need a partner. It's great when we find it, but you have the strength to do everything on your own. You don't need that. I just want to say that. I think that's a problem with a lot of us, is we think we need it,
Yeah.
and I didn't need it. It's much better off without it.
Yeah, that's a really important message. Can you tell me, I know you're not there all the time, but either in the Disappearing Act or the Head and Breakfast or your organizations, not when you're out there teaching, but what do you do to inspire your team? What do you do to create culture? What? Because I don't get to see you at the local level. I haven't had the pleasure yet of Head and Breakfast. I planned it's on my to-do list. But what do you do to create that culture and inspire your team?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's first talk about my Disappearing Act team. I love these people. They're comprised. We have a man on our team right now, and I'm so happy about it. So it's not just ladies. We used to be the DA ladies, the dolls. And now we have man, and it's really cool. He's got such good ethics, and he's such a kind, vivacious, smart guy. And so yeah, we're getting some diversity. But he's great. But my team, we hire very much to culture. We just at the interview, I sit down with my practice manager, Becca Maccabee, and we sit down, and we're really looking for compassion, working, caring. I like to hire people that don't have any experience at all, because it's so much easier to train them the way you want to be trained the first time, instead of bringing in bad habits and bad, and just kind of, I just want to start fresh. And so I really like to teach and train, and assist them. So now that I'm not seeing my own clinic for 8 hours a day, every day, I go in and I'm able to pop into rooms and assist my team, and really offer insights, and watch them work, and watch them create those relationships with their patients. So I think about Catherine Trumbull with her bloody broom in the OR, right? Just getting in and helping out, So I'm in there changing garbage, wiping off counters at the end of and wiping off the beds. I think of her often as I'm being a servant leader. I'm elbow to elbow with my team, and helping them turn over the room, helping them get the next patient, helping them help with a lot of these little issues that come up, a difficult patient or unhappy patient. Being there, I'm always available on text if I'm traveling, or if I'm up in my Ashland, Oregon home. FaceTimes. I just always am available for them. But they have a lot of autonomy, and I believe in them. I believe in their abilities, because they have that same culture of compassion and caring. Or they wouldn't have got hired, right? None of them wear crowns. Everybody, no matter how many followers they have on Instagram or whatever, it doesn't matter. Everybody is the same. Everybody is part of this wonderful team. And we do a lot of fun things outside of work too. We have parties, and we just go on fun little adventures, and retreats and things like that. We go to conferences together, usually AmSpa, because it has something for everybody on the team, from answering the phone to poking people's faces. It has something for everybody. Let's see. So our marketing team's going to go to Needle Art with Subio this fall as well. So
Nice.
little fun things like that, and travel, and getting them out of their stay in Reading bubble. So we're all, traveling all over.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. And then as far as head and breakfast team, I'm meeting everybody. There's 12 people that come every single month. And these 12 people, most of them I don't know. When I walk in and see them, I have no idea who they are. And so I have to learn 12 names all at once, which is my biggest challenge. The older I get, the less I remember names. But by Sunday, I know them. I know their names. But working with that is a totally different dynamic, because I'm taking 12 strangers and connecting with them, but also having them connect with each other, so that by Sunday they have 12 new friends that are going to be with them maybe the rest of their entire career. I have messages from the groups from the first year, 2021, and they're still getting together to see meetings. They're still going to each other's openings of their offices, and kids' bar mitzvahs, graduations. They're staying together, and that just is a beautiful thing. It just makes me so happy. So building those teams is so rewarding, because you're taking strangers and making communities out of it, and it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. So yeah,
Yeah,
it
it's a
lifts me up. It does.
gift
So
that keeps on giving. Yeah, it's wonderful. So,
totally.
Julie, these days there are a lot of people who have either already taken a step and opened their own place, or a lot of folks who are in the profession but are thinking about doing that. What piece of advice would you give them as they, let's say, someone who's contemplating it, and you now have the perspective of what it takes to have a place, be a leader, run a place. What would you tell them as far as weighing the pros and cons and tips to make it successful? Or if you're already in one, successful, what do you see from a leadership standpoint? What would you tell people?
It's so hard because it depends on where they live, what experience they already have. If somebody, no matter where they live, if they're in a toxic work environment where the leadership doesn't care about safety, because safety should be number one, first and foremost, and then I'd say patient connection. So say you're working at a place where you have 15 minutes to see every patient, and you don't have time to connect. You don't have time to do informed consent. You don't have time to really get to know your patient at all. And then you've got to see 20 people, and you got to pop, 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 pop. And then there's no care about safety. Well, that's just terrible. I'd say that's toxic. Get out of there. And if there's no other place you really dream of being a business owner, then definitely start your own. Definitely go out and do it. But start small. Don't go getting a loan for $1 million worth of lasers. Just start small. Maybe lease a little place, and one patient at a time. Connect. Don't over extend yourself, because you don't want to go from a toxic situation to a scary situation where you can't feed your children or feed yourself. I see that happen a lot, and they give up and they quit and they go to some other form of nursing. And I don't want to see anybody leave a toxic situation and then, get discouraged with failure. Failure, it happens. It happens with all of us. I can just totally list several failures and bad decisions I've made since 1999. But you know what? Who cares? You should launch yourself off of those failures and make better choices. So if I had to do it all over again, somebody told me early on, the first 5 years, you're not going to make any money. And that's true. I didn't make any money for the first 5 years either. The first profit I got was 5 years into it. Be in a position that's okay if you can. If you can't, then be very, very, very low overhead. I know people that lease a Sprinter and they're doing a mobile thing. If that's legal in your state, and you can be safe, do that, but do something that is safe first and foremost, and something with low overhead first and foremost, until you develop your patient base, and then start buying inexpensive stuff, maybe PRF system, maybe RF microneedling, maybe laser hair removal, the most popular, but then gradually add these services as you have that profit, save and pay for it. To me, that burden of debt is far too great a burden to bear in your first 5 years.
Tell me about a time, Julie, you have this sunshine, joyous, bright persona. That's just who you are. Tell me about a time when you had someone in your organization that didn't believe what you believe and you had to let them go. Tell me what that was like, and tell me about one of those times.
I have a practice manager that is really amazing, who does all the firing for me because I can't do it. I can't.
Okay.
So dude, I can't even step on a spider. You think I'm going to tell somebody they don't fit our culture and they need to go? No, that is Becca's job.
Okay.
And I love too much. So my heart is big. And even though they're not working out, and even though frankly, I don't see them having a future in my thing. I have Becca do it. Uh, and
Okay.
there, it's the truth. I'm not gonna blow smoke up your little tushy, but
Gotcha. I
I
gotcha.
can't
I
do it.
respect that.
I can't
I
do it.
respect that.
I can't do
Okay.
it. But
Fair. That's a fair
I'll tell you
answer.
about some times. So I'll tell you about some times. There's luckily some people, you have a garden that you curate, a garden that is your beautiful garden, right? And sometimes there's a weed that kind of pops up. So you might have hired this beautiful little flower, and then all of a sudden there's weeds all around this employee, and they become this uncontrollable weed, you know. Maybe they start wearing a crown and go, well, I'm not going to do that. Well, I don't want to do 4 lasers in a day. It hurts my back. Or, you know, I don't want to da 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 da. Start wearing a crown. I start thinking, okay, that little flower I hired is now a weed. And they're not fitting in the garden anymore. But luckily over the years, and I've had many employees over the years, I call these weeds, you know, these situations are weed situations. And it's so good when you have the case of a self-pulling weed, right? So they pull themselves out of your garden. I'm going to go start my own thing, or I'm going to go, I decided I want to be an ICU nurse. They oftentimes realize that they're not fitting in with the culture, so they pull themselves out of your garden. And that's
Yeah.
great. And I don't get too sad about it, because I'm like, okay, you know, Becca didn't have to do it. They
Yeah.
did it
Yeah.
themselves. And that's okay. And there's been cases where the person fit our culture. The person was super nice, super lovely, but they had ham hands, you know, like they couldn't be a fine, they didn't have the finesse to be a good injector. And you think it's easy, but it isn't. It's not everybody can do it. So if you can't find other things for them to do in your organization, because there might be a place they shine that doesn't involve fine needle stuff, right? But you know, a couple of times over the years, I've had somebody who can't even hit a tattoo with a tattoo removal laser. That's pretty bad. So if you can't do that, you best believe you're not going to be doing a good job with a tiny needle. And we had to let her go, even though her heart was beautiful, her mind, her everything was beautiful. She just couldn't do it. A lot of complaints from patients, and your reputation's only as good as your least talented or least wonderful person, right? So you can call it a weak link, but I don't like to call people weak links. But if you can't bring them up to par of your standard, if you don't want to sit in their chair, well, you shouldn't be putting unsuspecting patients in that chair either. So, you know what I mean? Like, if
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit in that chair because their hands are literally ham hocks, I can't, they're not going to be in the chair for anybody. And I give them a chance. I try to train them, but you just can't. One thing you learn is you just can't train everybody to be excellent technically.
Sure.
So yeah, over the years, I've had to let a few people go because of that. A few people go because they become a weed. But they're few. Most people, you know, they leave because life takes them out of the city, or out of the, you know, their situations change, their personal situations change. They don't have to work as often or whatever. So yeah, things change. But it's hard letting people go, because you do get attached. And for me, I love people, so it's hard for me to do that.
Yeah, no,
But
I appreciate that. I think I like your analogy of the weed, because it's not so much that that one individual is going to have such a negative impact. It's their effect on the organization. You know,
yeah,
so when you bring someone new into your culture, if your culture is strong, they become part of your culture. But if your culture is weak, then your culture becomes like them. And I think that's a really important thing for anyone who aspires to have their place to do. It's conscious. I've asked other people this, but as far as the leadership aspect, you've sort of, well, let me go back. I think that I haven't seen you in your local place, but you now become a leader much more in aesthetics as a whole. People look up to you. They respect you for your education, for your outlook, for many reasons. If you had a magic wand, and I think you and I share a love of this wonderful space we're in. I don't know how I ended up here a couple of years ago, but I will take it and I'm going to run with it. If you had a magic wand, what would you change right now about our profession that if you could, one thing?
Okay, it's easy. I would want multi-specialty respect.
Okay.
And to me, there's too much of this. There's even a hashtag stop scope creep. It really boils my blood. I can't. It makes me very, very, very sad about our field of medicine. I stopped using the word industry. This is not an industry. I mean, we're not making cars, for crying out loud. This is a field of medicine. And in this field of medicine, it's legal for nurses to inject in most states in the United States. Around the world, it's not always the case. But if we can legally inject, give us some damn respect, for crying out loud. Stop this this whole, oh, I'm a doctor, I'm a dermatologist, I only can do this. This nurse can't do this. And this whole, if you don't want a complication, don't go to a nurse. I can't handle that. It's not cool. And there's so many wonderful physicians out there like you. I mean, I could spend an hour listing all these wonderful physicians who respect the multidisciplinary aspect of our field of medicine. And that's what I would do. I would say that needs to stop. There's conferences where nurses can't get up and speak. PAs can't get up and speak. A dentist? Really? A dentist can't get up and speak? Can't even attend, like IMCAS, MCAS? Dentists can't even attend the talks, or nurses? I'm sorry, but nurses and PAs are doing 80% worldwide of all these injectables, while doctors are busy being doctors for good reason. We need doctors. We need doctors to do doctor stuff. So give us some respect, damn it. We deserve it. And I'm going to pull my Kathleen Gullidge Spitfire strength here. If you don't respect me, then have a good one.
AMF yo-yo.
Good luck with your little bubble, because you're going the way of dinosaurs. You're not going to survive in this field of medicine if you're in this little tiny bubble. Only doctors can come. Only doctors can speak. Well, I'm popping that bubble. Damn it.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. No, I totally understand that. In my whole life, every time I've ever hired someone or chosen someone to be around me, it's not the initials after their name. It's who they are. It's much more important. Obviously, it has to be legal. But
yeah, obviously.
Yeah.
And in the United States, there are people that aren't nurses that can legally inject. And I'm telling you, I'm happy to train them. I'm happy for them to come to my head and breakfast. I'm happy because knowledge, teaching, it makes the whole field of medicine stronger. I don't sit there and go, oh, you're not a nurse, you're an MA and you inject. I'm not going to teach you. Well, that's kind of stupid, right? That's like what the dermatologists are saying to me. Well, some, not all of them. It's if it's legal in your state, if your state says you can inject, then you're welcome to come and have me train you. That's how I feel, and I'm
Sure.
strong about it. And I might get some pushback with some colleagues, but what's the difference? It's legal.
Yeah. So look, if you're a nurse, a PA, a doctor, or even a ninja, right?
Even a ninja.
Even a ninja,
I would
yeah.
even say ninja.
You teach a ninja. You teach a ninja, huh? All right, I'm coming your
100%.
way. All right,
100%.
so look, this isn't the last question, but we're heading towards that, and I want to ask you if there's anything you wish I had asked that you could have had a chance to answer.
Wow, Lonnie, that's good. Any conversation with you is going to be a good one because your heart just shines out all of your pores. I love that about you. I love how deep and thoughtful you are, and how you can you're just so you can go deep in 5 minutes or 5 seconds. Looking back at the subject of leadership, I can't think of anything you didn't ask me, but I would say that one of the most important things that we should do is always be authentic, be ourselves. To, you know, don't try to fit into somebody else's culture. Just like you wearing your ninja cap, you're just so adorable. You're not trying to like be some schmoozy, swarmy, just stepped off a yacht and off of a jet, and you're all just fancy with your, designer this and design. Let's not do that. Let's not play the designer game with everybody at every conference. It becomes this fashion show, although I do like designer stuff.
You got a couple of shoes, don't you? A couple of pairs of shoes. Yeah.
Just a few.
That's all right.
But that's just because I grew up poor and I'm compensating.
That's all right, Julie. I love you no matter how many pairs you have.
But I don't want people to feel that pressure of trying to fit into something else. So I want to close with that thought. Like, I don't care what you look like, who you identify with, or whatever your story is. Don't think that you can't make it in this field of medicine because you're different. I think you can make it in this field of medicine because you're different. If you try to look like everybody else with this beautiful silky straight hair with extensions down to your knees and your big old lips and your designer this, designer that, and your your cookie cutter 5 face, all proportionate face, and you're going to look like a Kardashian like everybody else, and nobody's going to see, you're going to look like everybody else. So you're not going to stand out. So, I don't care what the design is. I don't care what the fashion is. I threw on corduroy today because I wanted to, do what you want to do, wear what you want to wear. My twisted thoughts that I always have made my hair grow twisted out of my skull. So I'm going to keep my twisted hair, because it matches my twisted brain. And it's easy. I roll out of bed and it's like, okay, it's done. Be yourself, damn it. Be yourself. I did put on lipstick for you.
Thank you.
But but just don't succumb to all the pressures. There's too many pressures out there, and people constantly say, I want to go to this meeting, but I don't know what to wear. Wear what you feel confident in. If you're confident in it, wear it. Put it in your suitcase. If you're not confident in it, don't wear it. It doesn't matter.
I've never had that problem, but what you said about authenticity and leadership just inspired me to come up with something. I think I like it. People won't follow a fake. They won't follow a fake. Yeah, I love that. So,
It's obvious, isn't it?
Yeah, we have a tradition here on this podcast where we pick at random a question that one of our listeners has submitted, not knowing who would get the question. Okay?
Oh,
so
perfect.
here is your closing question for for you to answer.
I know what it is. Why is Lonnie Green so damn cute?
No. That's going to be on the edit. That's going to be on the cutting room floor. Graham, note that, please. Okay. What drains and depletes you? What invigorates and brightens you? And what do you do in your daily life to stay away from the negatives and move towards the positives? Wow, this is a perfect one for you. So let me say one. Ready? One more time. What drains and depletes you? What invigorates and brightens you? And what do you do in your daily life to stay away from the negatives and move towards the positives? Your turn.
Oh, I love it. Are you sure they didn't know who they were asking for? Because
yeah, but
such a big question.
it was the fates. It was the ninja fates.
Okay, things that drain and deplete me are negativity. I can't handle it. Yeah. Even in my marriage, if Jory is having a bummer day and he's like, whoa, yeah, I got this bill, I got that bill. I can't handle it. It's like fingernails. Do you remember chalkboards? Are you old enough? Fingernails on a chalkboard.
I don't like that. Don't like that. Yeah.
And I'm like, listen, Jubilant Julie has no room for negatory Jory. You need to stop that right now. Go leak that somewhere else. But that drains and depletes me. This yeah, that's not in the budget. You're spending too much money. And I'm like, I don't want to die with any money, man. Our kids will be fine. I want to spend it now.
I hear you. But
anyway, that drains and depletes me, as well as I was getting drained and depleted seeing patients all day long, plus trying to teach my team. Sure. And I shared with you in our inner circle. It was just insane. I was seeing too many patients and trying to teach my team, trying to be a team leader and seeing the clinic. So I did stop seeing a clinic full of patients every time I was in Reading.
Sure.
And my home is 2.5 hours away from my office. So driving there, seeing lots of patients, and maybe spending the night at my house there, and it just, I would hit the pillow and just be asleep. I couldn't handle it. It was all the patients drained me and all the responsibilities drained me. So working too much outside of your comfort level, having too much on your mind. It's like sometimes I wake up, there's so much in here that I have to do that it feels like scrambled eggs, like it's all like, that drains and depletes me. So I did hire an assistant who helps me with messages. It's good to have a lot of followers and a lot of people on Instagram, and it's good to have a lot of Patreon. I love my Patreon peeps, man. Those JJPs invigorate me. They're so eager to learn, and they're subscribing for, $9 a month to, $100 a month. There's a tier, and those people excite me. And so I want to have time to help them and time to help my team at Disappearing Act. And I want to be a mentor to my mentees on Patreon. So I hired an assistant to help me with the hundreds of messages I get every day, hundreds of emails I get every day. So that has helped the scrambled egg situation. Sure. And you already know the answer to this, that what invigorates me and sets me up is when people are I can connect with these people and they are excited to launch and to be themselves and to do better. So when I get messages from people that'll say, I went to Head and Breakfast, or I met you at a conference and you inspired me to do better. You inspired me to be myself. I have now the courage to start this thing and start that thing. And that brings tears to my eyes, and it really makes me feel like when I do leave this earth, when my body turns to compost, because that's what I want to do. I want my body organs to be donated, and then I want compost. When I'm compost and my organs are out there in different people, I want my ripples of helping maybe thousands of people with this field of medicine. I hope that my ripples will keep going on for hundreds of years, thousands of years maybe, who knows. But that kindness, that inspiration, that jubilant attitude, I hope that goes on for years and years and years to come, And I hope my compost grows some really pretty stuff.
Yeah, well, that's a beautiful closing here, Julie. I will say that there's, I've been very, very fortunate in this industry to meet some just truly wonderful people.
You said industry. You said the I word.
Thank you. Profession. Yeah. I'm getting away from it. I appreciate that. In this profession, because it is truly a profession, and we're lucky to be here. So I've met many, and also many who I consider leaders, and it's fascinating to me. I wasn't planning to do a leadership podcast. It was more going to be clinical, but I'm just fascinated by the different ways that people lead. And you have I consider you very much a leader in the profession, and a leader that I look up to and that I've learned from. And I think what really strikes me is that I have now seen you lead by jubilance, and I've seen you in person. I've seen you lead by tremendous depths and lows, and being vulnerable and willing to share that, and through it all, the authenticity comes through. So I thank you for what you have done, what you continue to do, and I have no doubt that in the cosmic karma of things, you already. Your compost is not here yet, thankfully. May it be many, many, many years in the future, but your energy is already spreading positive cosmic karma throughout. So I thank you for that very much.
Thank you.
And thank you for
so
making
much,
time. And I look forward to seeing you and Jory and your family in person whenever that will be.
Yeah, hopefully soon.
All right. Until next time.
Thank you, Lonny.
Love you. Bye.
Love you. Bye.